Hello everyone, this is your personal video from Mrs. Hammond on how to do Cornell notes. I'm going to be doing it on a Google Doc, but you all know that I prefer that your Cornell notes are done in a notebook, which you'll be getting very soon, on paper. But I also understand if you are feeling more comfortable typing your notes and your eyes are feeling fine, then I recommend doing this. But at least on here, you'll be able to see the expectations and how Cornell notes are going to work. Okay. So what's really cool about a Google Doc is you can really format it to fit your needs. All right. So up here, I'm going to put Cornell notes. And I'm going to use this video to teach you sort of the different parts of your document. So first, we're going to put in a table. How do I want to do this? So I'm going to do a table, and I'm going to do 2 columns and down by 3. So it kind of looks like this. And I'm going to merge. I'm going to highlight these 2. You right click and you click merge. And then I'm going to connect these 2 and do the same. And then I'm going to move this over till about like the 2 maybe. Yeah. And then I'm just going to hit return. I should have some space here. Delete one. And then and what's really cool is with a Google Doc, it's going to adjust to your needs and keep it going the best you can. But here is your simple setup for Cornell notes. Okay, and I'm going to actually go ahead and make it full screen for us. All right, so up here, you might want to put your topic, and ours is Cornell notes. Obviously, when you're taking your PLP notes, your topic's going to be the focus area that you're taking notes on. Okay, so I'll put here focus area I am taking notes on. All right. In this box, you're going to be putting your essential question. This is the question that you are trying to answer with your notes. This is usually made from your objectives in your focus areas. Okay. So if I actually go back to PLP really quick, I'm going to go here. I'm going to view as one of you. Pick Joaquin. So as you can see here, all of these are focus areas, right? So let's say I'm going to take notes on reading strategies. These are my 2 objectives. So one of them says I need to define and give examples of these terms, and I need to identify appropriate strategies. So in this case, my essential question, if I were doing it on reading strategies, oops, my lights. Oh no, my lights have turned off. 1 second. Okay. That'll be fun to watch in your video. I would say my essential question would be, what are the definitions, or what are the, or maybe even something like, why are these terms and strategies for reading important? So that might be my essential question, right? Because then all the terms that I define in here and all the strategies that I put in my notes are going to be answered by that, are going to be the answer to this question. Okay. So I'm going to put here for reading strategies so that you know where this is coming from. Since my example here is about Cornell notes, I'm going to put, why are Cornell notes a smart way to study, take notes, and review my new knowledge. Okay? That's why I'm fixing my grammar there. Okay? So those are just some examples of what essential questions might look like. Okay, now before I even talk to you about taking notes, when you finish taking notes, down here in your summary, this is answering your essential question. It's about 1 to 5 sentences. 5 sentences, I would say, is almost too much. It's a summary that shows that you're able to put all of your knowledge together in a short little bit of information that summarizes what you've learned. Okay? All right. So this is where you take notes. And this is going to be the most important part of your note-taking document because it's going to allow for you to organize your information. So if you're somebody who likes to do outlining, you can definitely take your notes in that outlining format as long as it's inside of this section. I'm not going to be too particular about how your notes look in terms of neatness, except I do want to see some organization with sections. So let me talk to you about that. So let's say I am taking notes on reading strategies, right? And I'm looking at my first objective. I've got a lot of information here. So in my notes, I'm going to put objective 1, defining important terms, okay? And then I'm going to press or do number 1 and hit space or enter, and it should automatically indent for me. If not, these are my indents. And I'm going to put notes here, notes here, notes here. And I'm going to put as many notes that I feel are important. When I'm looking at my focus areas, it'll be really important to take a look at your note-taking guide. This is sort of like what do I need to make sure I know to pass the content assessment. And we've kind of made sure that we've asked you to write 3 details for each of the following resources. And in some of these, we ask you to only read parts of those resources. Okay? So what I would do is I would take your notes and then use this review sheet to go back into your Cornell notes and think about and see if you've made notes of any of these items. If something's missing, then you need to go back into your materials and make sure you add that. Okay? So you could take it a step further. Here's objective 1, and you could do this, resource 1. That might even be a better idea. And then I do note 1, note 2, note 3. And then resource 2, note 1, note 2, note 3. Okay, and then depending on how many resources you have. When you go to your second objective, I'm going to ask that you skip a line. And this is just going to help you to organize your notes. It's going to help your brain define. This one was about strategies. This is just going to help your brain see your information, right? And then I'm going to do this. Oops, not hit tab. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to go number 1, and it's going to be my first resource, and note 1, note 2, note 3, right? And so on and so forth. There's only 2 objectives for reading strategies. So this might fill up a full page. It might not. There's a lot of resources in there, but you also might not need to take a ton of notes on all of them. So that gives you some insight into how big your notes are going to be, okay? Over on this side, you're going to have to put your key terms. Key terms, questions, key phrases to help you study. And here your questions should be open-ended. We're talking about avoiding yes or no questions to the best of your ability. Sometimes it is just defining a term or being able to give a direct answer. But a lot of times as teachers really want you to be able to explain your thinking, and that's going to deepen your understanding of the topic. Okay? And then once you've written your notes, you've got your summary, you've taken your notes on the inside, this is the next part. And in the resources in PLP, this is the part that I was talking about yesterday. That's really important. That taking notes is only what? 1/5 of what I'm asking you to do. Once you've taken your notes, you need to read and reflect. This is where you go back into your notes and you reread them, maybe even read them out loud. So that practice of saying it is building those neurons, those neurological pathways in your brain. Highlighting things that you think are important. Maybe adding comments or extra notes to the right of it. And you could even do them in a different color. So maybe I highlight this note, but I'm gonna put all of my extra notes showing reflection in a different color. Ooh, I should pick a color that I can see. Go down here. So that way I understand. Should look different enough. There we go. So that way I understand that this is something I've added per my reflection, right? I might be using this to make sure that I am writing down everything that is required of me to study from. You need to create questions and keywords to help you quiz yourself, and that's where this section will help you. Right? That needs to happen. And then you need to review and assess your work, revisiting your questions over and over and your keywords. And make sure that summary is there as a reflection tool as well. Okay? So this is sort of the bare bones with Cornell notes that I want you to be doing at all times with your focus areas. You can do this with English, history, math, or science. And yes, you could be doing math. And that's why I say paper is a really great option, because if you're practicing a skill, you're practicing it here in your note section. And over here, you're going to be putting the keyword of the skill and reminding yourself of what that looks like. Okay? Those key terms are always next to the notes or objective that you're writing about, because you want things to be linear. You want them to be side by side. All right, I know this is a bit long of a video, but now that you've finished watching it, you have personal learning time to spend continuing your work with Cornell Notes on PLP. Remember, on Friday, you will be turning in your Cornell Notes to me. It's in the Welcome Back to PLP tab, and you're simply turning in a picture of or a Google Doc of the notes you think you did your best work on. And this will be the expectation for all of your notes for focus areas, and maybe even work with your PLP projects. Please don't hesitate to ask me questions. That's why I'm here. It's my job, and I love helping students learn. So please let me know if there's anything you need. Happy note taking, and I really appreciate the hard work you've already put in this school year.